Hello, this webinar is titled Unrestricted Warfare, the Seeds Planted Over 60 Years Ago, the 45 Communist Goals for the United States. As we've noted, Stalin said this: America is like a healthy body, and its resistance is threefold: its patriotism, its morality, and its spiritual life. If we can undermine these three areas, America will collapse from within. Well, the purpose of this video is to deepen your red pill moment. And I mentioned in the last video that Representative Sid Herlong from Florida read the list of 45 communist goals for America into the congressional record, with the express purpose to create a permanent record of this subterfuge. The last video took a look at 10 of those items. This longer video is to identify all 45 items and to have you just listen to them and consider whether you see a lot of these at work in American society today. The 45 communist goals in America. In education, to get control of the schools, to use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, to soften the curriculum, to get control of teachers' associations and to put the party line into textbooks, to gain control of all student newspapers, to use student riots to foment public protest against programs or organizations which are under communist attack, in other words, a focus of communist advancement. In the area of the press and the media, to infiltrate the press, to get control of book review assignments, to get control of editorial writing, to get control of policy-making positions, to gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. The family, to discredit the family as an institution, to encourage promiscuity and easy divorce, to emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. And boy, do we see that at work in our society today. To attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. For the churches, the Bible, expressions of faith, and public life, these were the goals: to infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion or social justice religion. To discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious crutch. To eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation of church and state, which is actually not a phrase that's in the U.S. Constitution. In the area of morality, to eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. To break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. And it's not only in our libraries, but it's in our public school classrooms, high school, middle school, and elementary school in this day and age. To present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. In the area of American history, culture, the Constitution, and the scope of government, now that momentum has been gained, here is the list of action items. To discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, and out of step with modern needs. We've had actual Supreme Court justices make this case, including the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, expressed such sentiments. To discredit the American Constitution by calling it a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. To discredit the American Founding Fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. To belittle all forms of American culture. To discourage the teaching of American history on the ground that it was only a minor part of the big picture. To support any socialist movement to get centralized control over any part of the culture, including education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. To redefine free speech. To create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition, and boy did we see that in 2020 with the Black Lives Matter riots and the Antifa riots across the nation doing billions of dollars in damage. That students in special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve economic, political, or social problems. We have candidates for political office that are actually advocating these ideas as good things. politics, and courts to capture one or both of the political parties in the United States, which seems to have been accomplished, to use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. In the area of the arts, to continue to discredit American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression, control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art, said the communist advancers. The police and psychiatry transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies, to treat all behavior problems as psychiatric disorders which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat, to dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as means of gaining coercive control. American workers and corporations to infiltrate and gain control of more unions, to infiltrate and gain control of big business, and boy, the Fortune 500 companies have been taken over by various Marxist-based entities, including BLM and LGBTQ sexual activist organizations that have Marxism in their roots. In the area of trade, permit free trade between all nations regardless of communist affiliation and regardless of whether or not items could be used for war. In the area of foreign policy, to provide American aid to all nations regardless of communist domination, in other words, draining America's pocketbooks to even undermine and provide aid to enemies. Another way to run up American national debt, to internationalize the Panama Canal. Of all things. Khrushchev said this: "You Americans are so gullible. You won't accept communism outright, but we'll keep feeding you in small doses." As you've listened to these 45 communist goals of America, do you feel like you're having a deepening red pill moment? These are certainly things to talk about in these troubled times and to consider them and to share them with friends. My name's Craig Seibert. Thanks for listening.